Hello, welcome to Also Rusty Buckets. This video is going to be a long one, so I'll not waste your time too much here. Just subscribe to this channel. About half of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you fall into that 50%, subscribe. Also, drop a like on this video. It is much appreciated. Also, Deep Dive is going to be posted early on Patreon tomorrow. So if you want to see the deep dive a day early, then go get my Patreon. But anyways, with that out of the way, a lot of games today. This video is probably going to be long. I tweeted this deep dive is going to be like 20 minutes long, and then Kenny, King of the Fourth Quarter, replied, "How?" And I was like, dude, I just do these in one take. I don't do I refuse to cut things. I refuse to take second takes. It's just incredibly lazy. So that's the gist. This video is going to be long. So the games I watched today: Celtics versus Hawks, Bulls versus Pistons, which I'm going to be talking about a lot today, Blazers versus Pelicans, and Heat versus Warriors. So first things first, let me talk about the Bulls and Pistons game. So this was the biggest comeback of the season by any NBA team thus far. At least that's what I heard on TV, and I'm going to take it as true. We were down 25 at one point, not we, because I am not the Chicago Bulls, but it's just my natural tendency to say we, even though it shouldn't be. But the Bulls were down 25 in this game at one point midway through the second quarter, and they made the comeback. So whole lot of shit happened in this game. This game was really just like the Bulls in the first half, like everything just looked wrong. Other than Zach LaVine, no one had any energy in this game. Everyone looked like they were asleep. The Pistons, I don't even think the Pistons played all that well. It's just the Bulls were not playing well, and the shots were not dropping. I don't know what the exact number was, but I think they'd only made like 2 threes at half, and it was on multiple attempts. It was just ugly. Going in the third quarter, though, the comeback arose, and I kind of felt like it was coming. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was like me being falsely hopeful, but I guess eventually actually hopeful because it did happen. But Zach LaVine clearly had a new energy, even though he had a decent amount of energy in the first half. He came into the second half like, I'm going to take over, and that's exactly what he did. He had 15 points in the third quarter, didn't sit for the entire third quarter, and he just completely led the comeback. But more than just Zach LaVine's offense, the Bulls' defense was great in the second half. Like, they were playing the passing lane very well. They were putting up the effort. The only reason why the Pistons offense still ended up being good was Jeremy Grant had a career night. So basically I got to watch the Bulls make a 25-point comeback, and I got to watch Jeremy Grant drop 40 points. So I may or may not have busted a nut to that. Anyways, this game was truly something that I needed. Now, I was very frustrated in the first half, as you would expect, being down 25 to one of the worst teams in the NBA, but I had the feeling the comeback was happening. But the whole reason I was frustrated was, like, in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this game because it's going to be an easy win for the Bulls to get them closer to the playoff seeding. And then I was like, well, shit, our playoff hope, getting into that 8th seed, it's a little bit worse now if we lose this game, but they did not lose this game. As for some specific notes here, Zach's defense has been a lot better this year. There was one play where he stole it from Josh Jackson, and then they both got in a shouting match at each other. Zach said, "Fuck out of here." Late in the game, though, was a relatively close game, and I was a little annoyed when they put Kobe White in the game. Now, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Kobe White, and he didn't play great in this to close out this game. Now, I will say he had one nice assist and one wide open three-pointer that he made to close this one out, which I'll give him credit for that. But for this game overall, to that point, he only had 4 points, so I believe he finishes with 7 points. And that he was 1 for 6 from 3 in that one. I'm pulling up the stats just to confirm these numbers. He was having a very rough night. 3 for 10 overall, 1 for 6 from 3. 3 turnovers. So yeah, that's not pretty from Kobe White. And when you look at the minutes in this one, Thomas Satoransky got more minutes than him. So it really seems like the coach, what's his fucking name? Why is my head going blank? Billy Donovan. He is not really feeling the Kobe White train anymore. It seems like he's kind of tired of him, which, hey, I appreciate it because I'm tired of him too. But what's interesting with that Satoransky getting more minutes thing, with the vets in general getting more minutes, I'm starting to get the feeling of, like, I feel like this team is going more and more in the direction of the veterans. Like, if you watch the Bulls' late game lineups, rarely is it the starters. Like, it's usually Zach and then either eat both of Thad Young and Garrett Temple, and then it can vary from there. Sometimes Lowry will be in late. Sometimes it'll be Patrick Williams. Very often Thad Young is playing the small ball 5. The Bulls late game are trusting Zach and the veterans, and they're not trusting their young players. So I was thinking of making this video about the Bulls, but I was like, or the title, but I was like, I've already made a bunch of Bulls. I think I made 2-3 titles about the Bulls, one about Zach LaVine, one about Kobe White. So I'm not going to do that in this video, but I really am starting to feel like Kobe White as well as Lauri Markkanen, let them go. Patrick Williams, give him a bit of a reduced role, and just let this Bulls team be all about the vets other than Wendell, Patrick, and then also I would love for them to trade for Lonzo Ball. But other than that, I'm perfectly satisfied with Zach LaVine and vets, because Zach LaVine's taken a leap. This game, he had 37 in total. 64% shooting from the field, 67% from 3, hit some step-back threes, was facilitating well, much better defense. He is so much better than I previously expected he could even ever be. Like, he is, I don't know what his stats are at this point. He is averaging almost 29, 5, and 5, and he's doing it on like 66+ true shooting. Like, he's putting up point per game average on efficiency that is pretty neck and neck with 2016. What the fuck was that? 2016 Stephen Curry. I never thought Zach LaVine could be this good. Now, I also think numbers will go down a bit. I don't think he's really this good, but he's definitely taken a leap. His all-around game has gotten better. His offense has gotten more efficient. He seems more confident than ever. I just trust in Zach LaVine, and I want this team to build around Zach LaVine. I previously was like, no, don't build around Zach LaVine, because I don't think the ceiling on this team is high enough with him. I think you can be a good playoff team with Zach LaVine as your best player, with a good supporting cast of vets who know what they're doing, and more grit and grind players like Lonzo Ball, and a defense like Wendell and Patrick Williams. And I want to see that happen. And then the hope years down the line, like a couple of seasons down the line, would be that, hey, you know, Chicago's a pretty good market. They have some cap space. They have Zach LaVine, who's really good. They have some defensive players who are really good. You know, I'm a superstar. Why don't I go to Chicago? That's a big market. Chicago's a great city. And the front office is no longer dog shit. I think the main reason the Bulls struggled so much as a large market to actually get free agents was their reputation around the league as a front office was horrible. What they did with Derrick Rose, that did not help their reputation whatsoever. And what's his name? Gar Forman was known as kind of shitty with players. So very much, I think the fact that we now have a new front office, they now have a front office, it's going to make us a more attractive free agent destination. So I want that to happen. But we're 8 minutes in this video. I already said it's going to be a long one. So let's just move on. Heat versus Warriors. Watched the second half of this game in a locker room. This was certainly an interesting game. Somehow the Warriors beat the Heat with Steph Curry. What did he end up? Like 4 for 20 from 3? First of all, 420. Nice. Got to point that one out because I'm immature. With Steph at a certain, I think he was 2 for 13 at one point. His shooting, yeah, he was 5 for 20 for the game, so 25%, worst shooting game of his career. The fact that the Warriors won this game, I'm doing an early leg switch here, getting wild on this channel. The fact that Steph could have this kind of game and the Warriors still beat the Heat, I think that's much more commentary on the Heat than it is the Warriors. Bam Adebayo was good yet again. Jimmy was not efficient scoring-wise whatsoever, 6 for 15. Kendrick Nunn has been good for this team. He was good in this game. Duncan, I think his threes were not dropping. Yeah. Tyler Hero, 15 rebounds, but 20% from the field on 15 shots. So this was a rough one. The Heat took an early lead in the first quarter, but the Warriors slowly chipped away at that, and then even that lead kind of came back. But then late in the fourth quarter, the Warriors made a push yet again. Steph hit a really clutch 3, put it into overtime. And then in overtime, the Heat were just kind of sloppy. So Steph Curry misses 15 threes, and the Warriors still beat the Miami Heat. So I also consider titling this video, Never Mind the Heat Are Frauds, as a follow-up to my most recent video. I still don't think they're frauds, but fuck, it's not looking great. I'm starting to look at some of the stuff that happened in the bubble a little bit funny. I'm probably going to make a deep dive on the bubble in general and how we should consider the context of those numbers and just all the shit that happened in the bubble. But yeah, so that's that game. Let me get Celtics versus Hawks out of the way real quick. This game was essentially just the Trae Young show. He had nearly 40 points. He actually might have reached 40 points. I turned off the game with like a minute left because the Hawks were clearly going to win. And this was an important win for the Hawks just because they've been struggling. Yeah, he did reach 40 points on 14 for 20 shooting, which is 70%. So very, very nice stuff from Trae. This was just the Trae Young show. Clint Capella and John Collins also combined for 44 just because the Celtics have no interior presence, really. Also, Clint Capella, I've said this a million times. Anytime I have to talk about the Hawks, Clint Capella is really important to this team, and I love him on this team. But so many people have been talking shit about the Hawks. And I mean, I did screenshot the fact that the Bulls are actually currently in the seeding one spot higher than the Hawks because the Hawks have one more loss. I was shit talking Mojo99 on Twitter about that. But the Hawks have had so many injuries this year. I really don't know why people are like, oh, the Hawks are fucking frauds, or the Hawks are a real disappointment in like a way that's like blaming them. They signed Bogdan, which is a huge addition. He has not played for them. Gallo has missed most of his games with them. Rondo has missed most of their games with him. Chris Dunn has not played a single game with them. And then DeAndre Hunter, who has broken out for the Hawks this year, which was semi-making up for the fact that they've had so many injuries, then he gets injured. So I don't know why people are mad at the Hawks for their struggles because it's absolutely not their fault. It's just the injuries have not been on their side. So as for some notes from this game that don't really kind of fit. Also, there's a conversation to be had about the Celtics in this game, although I'm not I'll be honest, this is probably the game I paid the least attention to, so I wasn't really putting too much of a focus on the Celtics struggles in this one. I will just say 14 and 14 on the season. That ain't pretty. No Kemba Walker in this one, so the playmaking, there had to be someone else to fill that role, and that was Jaylen Brown, who had 7 assists. He did struggle in this game, which it feels like this is the first game that I've watched from Jaylen Brown where he wasn't awesome in the scoring department. He was just 6 for 20 in this one, which is real bad. But he did, make up for it in the playmaking department a tad bit. 3 turnovers, so not an amazing assist-to-turnover ratio. But the assist is really the one thing left for Jaylen Brown to really reach a new level. Scoring wise, great from mid-range, great from 3, pretty damn good attacking the basket. His dribbling could be a little bit better, but it's not a weakness at all. He can even post up a good amount, and defensively, his off-ball defense is still below average, but other than that, he's great defensively. So literally just passing, off-ball defense, and Jaylen Brown's basically perfect. Jaylen, if he can continue to be a playmaker, that's great, but he probably was really just filling a role for Kemba in this one. Defense, or in this one, it was rough because the Trae Young foul baiting thing. A lot of people were complaining about this on Twitter. There was one play in particular with Jaylen Brown that was like, what kind of fucking foul call is that? As I've made my point in my foul baiting video, don't hate the player, hate the game. Be mad at the ref calling that. Don't be mad at Trae for doing it, because you would be happy with it if the guy on your team did that. You wouldn't be like, oh, I'm so proud of this, but like, you're not going to complain about the 2 points. Like earlier in this Bulls game, there was a dunk that Zach had on a backdoor cut, and Josh Jackson touched Zach's back, and they called an and one call on it. And I was like, that's a stupid call, but I'm not complaining about the free throw. So that's just how it is. It's tough. And it's definitely frustrating to watch from the opponent's perspective, but just try not to blame the player for that shit. It's really the fact that the league incentivizes that style of play. Trae also, like I said, 40 points. He had 16, or I guess it was probably 18 in the fourth quarter. He really just took over the game. One note that I did have, because I think Marcus Smart, let me sit up real quick. I think Marcus Smart is really important to this team, and I think the biggest reason why the Celtics are struggling this year on both ends of the court, especially defense, has been the loss of Marcus Smart and the leadership of Marcus Smart. I just put down a note here. Can you imagine if this team had Marcus Smart in this game? Trae Young is going off. Defenders don't seem to know how to not foul him, and maybe if you had maybe the best perimeter defender in the league, at the very least one of the best, that would have made a bit of a difference. Also, there was a good amount of minutes in this one. I'm trying to find it. Actually, no. Jeff Teague didn't play a lot in this one. There were people on Twitter bitching about it, and I was like, I didn't really see much of him. Apparently, he didn't actually play much. So just Celtics fans hate Jeff Teague, man. I really like Peyton Pritchard, by the way. I don't have much to add besides for that, but I think Peyton Pritchard's really good. Last game, Blazers versus Pelicans. That's what the title of this video is about. The Pelicans are doing a horrible job building around Zion and Ingram, and Lonzo as well, if you want to put him in that boat. I'm doing a Pelicans My NBA series after this. I'm actually going to switch my leg again. What do you know? Feeling crazy over on this channel. Oh, shit. No cuts whatsoever. Don't give a fuck. Why the fuck is Steven Adams on this team on an extension? Why the fuck is Eric Bledsoe on this team on a multiple-year contract? And even if, you're going to take that contract, why is he playing so much minutes that Lonzo is a shooting guard? Lonzo Ball is being used as a spot-up shooter with Eric Bledsoe as the point guard? Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, what are you doing? The starting lineup for the Pelicans right now is Eric Bledsoe, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Steven Adams. That is disgusting. So when I do my Pelicans, my NBA series, I know I've been saying I was going to do Kings. I changed my mind. I'm doing the Pelicans because I love Zion. First thing I'm doing is trading both of those guys, Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe. I just hate it so much. Like, Lonzo's actually been pretty good in the spot shooter role. Like, he's shooting 7 threes a game on above league average efficiency, which is very good. I don't know why people think Lonzo's a bad shooter, because he's absolutely not. He has rough patches for sure and rough stretches. But to say that he's a bad shooter is just like, that's just objectively not true. But he's not a spot shooter, and he's averaging like 4 assists per game this year, because he's being used in this role where he's the spot shooter. And he's like, why are you putting in the ball in Eric Bledsoe's hands over Lonzo? Like, Eric Bledsoe is a little bit better attacking the basket, and that's literally the only benefit that he brings. Worst playmaker, worst shooter. I hate it. Also, Steven Adams, he gets in the way. Now, Zion did have, I believe it was a career-high 36 points this game. So, Zion did well regardless of Steven Adams, and Zion's going to continue to do well regardless of Steven Adams, but why not make his life easier? So, yeah, do not like that one. Dame had a very good game here, which is the biggest reason why the Pelicans lost this one, on top of the poor roster construction, which I'm bitching about here. But Damien Lillard, he had 43 and 16. I didn't realize it was that good. Jesus Christ, Dame. He was clutch in the fourth quarter as well. I did miss some of the stuff in the fourth quarter, so I don't know the exact context of everything. But Dame was great. Gary Trent Jr. has continued to be good. 23 points in this one, 5 3-pointers. I don't know if this is a weird thing to say, but I think Gary Trent Jr. and Malik Beasley are basically the same exact player, which is great because I really like both of them. But the 6'4", 6'5" spot shooter who doesn't really do anything else except for shoot threes very well, but he does it so well and so aggressively that they average 20 points per game. So that's what's been happening with Gary Trent. That's what happens with Malik Beasley right now on the Timberwolves. So that's cool. As for some notes from this one, Zion's also for this team, for the Pelicans. Why are they so bad defensively? Being that they have Stan Van Gundy as their head coach. I said Jeff Van Gundy last time, as someone legitimately called me a casual for it. There was lots of people jokingly doing it, but there's someone that's like, oh, you said Jeff over Stan? You mean the two brothers who have Van Gundy for their last name? You confused them briefly in an unscripted thing? You fucking casual. I'm actually going to look up, I was trying to talk while thinking, while typing, and I just didn't do it because my brain was not allowing that to happen. I'm going to look up the Pelicans to see what their defensive rating is. Oh, for God's sake, just bring up Basketball Reference. Thank you. The 2021 New Orleans Pelicans are 27th in defensive rating. Defensive-minded coach, ladies and gentlemen. Steven Adams, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe. Those are all, other than Zion for the most part, those should all be plus defenders, and they're just not because the system sucks. And Zion could be utilized in a way, especially with a good scheme, that allows him to be a positive defender, and I think eventually even a great defender. I was hoping that Stan would be able to unlock the defensive potential in Zion. Not the case whatsoever. The Pelicans suck at defense, and the fact that you got a defensive-minded coach and they suck at defense, come on, dude. That's pathetic. But talking about this actual game, as good as Zion's game was for him specifically, it was not the best for Brandon Ingram. He struggled shooting the ball. Lonzo Ball played good in this one. He was 5 for 10 from 3, but not allowed to play make all that much because of fucking Eric Bledsoe. But for the most part, this game was just Damien Lillard going off on the Blazers and going off on the Pelicans, and Zion Williamson going off on the Blazers. But I am just tired of how this team has been built around Zion and Brandon Ingram, and I would argue Lonzo Ball as well. I would not trade Lonzo Ball. I think that's a mistake. I would do everything in my power to trade Eric Bledsoe instead. But yeah, that's the Pelicans, and that's the Pelicans versus Blazers game. Yeah, that's about it. I also briefly watched another game today. I don't remember what it was, but it was Magic versus Knicks, and I was like, this game's kind of trash, so I stopped watching it. So I don't have any notes about that. Anyways, yeah, as I promised, 20 minutes long. I knew I'd be rambling for a bit. Again, if you watch this video, comment jean jacket. I don't know. I just looked up at my jean jacket. That works. Deep Dive will be available on my Patreon early tomorrow. And yeah, bye.